The Wandering Earth by Cixin Liu. The story begins with our narrator, born just as Earth's rotation was coming to a halt during the Reigning Age. As the sun was about to go supernova and engulf the inner planets of our solar system, the Unity government constructed massive engines to propel the Earth out of the solar system in search of a new sun. These gigantic engines, called Earth engines, towered over the land and emitted scorching heat. Outdoor temperatures reached 180 degrees, and torrential rains were common. When the narrator begins primary school, they take a field trip with their teacher, Miss Xing, and their classmates. They visit one of the Earth engines up close, a towering metal mountain that dwarfs the Taihang Mountains in the distance. Miss Xing explains that the engine is 36,000 feet tall and is capable of exerting 15 billion tons of thrust on the Earth. Looking up at the plasma plume emanating from the top of the engine, the narrator remembers a riddle posed by their philosophy teacher about a wall stretching endlessly in every direction. The answer to the riddle is death, a concept that takes on new meaning in the face of the impending solar disaster. Miss Xing and the children continue their journey to the ocean, where they board a ship to sail into the Earth's night. They are all terrified to see their first sunrise, but Miss Xing reminds them that people were not always afraid of the sun. She points out Proxima Centauri in the night sky, their new home, and everyone weeps at the thought of the long journey ahead. On their return voyage, they see the moon, abandoned by humanity and propelled out of its orbit by lunar engines to avoid a catastrophic collision with Earth. As they arrive back in the northern hemisphere, they witness the Earth engines firing at full power, accelerating the planet and creating 300-foot waves that assault every continent. The narrator's grandfather passes away, repeating over and over, "Oh Earth, my wandering Earth." As Earth's rotation comes to a complete stop, the children are relocated to a subterranean city. The narrator finishes primary school and enters middle school, focusing on physical sciences and engineering, as the arts and philosophy are deemed unnecessary distractions. Their father is an astronaut, rarely home. During the 5th year of Earth's acceleration, the family visits the seaside on Aphelion Day, the day Earth is furthest from the sun. The sun appears tiny in the sky, and the ocean is a vast, icy plain. The narrator's father announces that he has fallen in love with Miss Xing, the narrator's former teacher, and plans to move out to live with her. The narrator's mother is unfazed by the news, reflecting the emotional detachment that has become common in this age of survival. 2 months later, the narrator's father returns home, having tired of his relationship with Miss Xing. The Earth begins its long fall toward the sun, and everyone feels a sense of unease. One day, the narrator encounters their classmate, Ling, who proposes a trip to the surface. Ling argues that it would be better to be on the surface when the helium flash hits, as everything will evaporate in an instant. The narrator refuses to go, and Ling leaves with another classmate, Tung. The helium flash does not occur, and Earth continues its journey. The narrator's family visits the seashore again as the Earth crosses Mars's orbit. The Earth engines have warmed the surface enough for people to go outside without thermal suits. They witness the ocean thawing, with cracks appearing in the ice and seawater erupting. As Earth approaches the sun, anxiety grips humankind once more. One day, the narrator overhears their parents discussing rumors that the calculations about the helium flash were wrong. The narrator's father insists that they must hold on to hope, even if it's not real, because hope is the gold and jewels of this age. The narrator's mother relays this message to them the next day. The helium flash does not occur again, and the Earth engines in Asia are shut down as the planet moves away from the sun. The narrator's father dies in an antimatter explosion while clearing asteroids in Earth's path. The narrator marries a Japanese woman named Koriyama Kayoko, whom they meet during a motorized sled race across the frozen Pacific. They win the lottery for the right to procreate, and Kayoko becomes pregnant. The Earth passes through the asteroid belt, and the narrator and Kayoko witness the terrifying power of antimatter bombs used to clear a path for the planet. They are forced to make an emergency landing in Hawaii as meteors bombard the Earth. A giant wave engulfs the island, and the sky is filled with dust from the impacts. As they fly back to Asia, the narrator feels despair and considers giving up. However, they are inspired by a woman on the plane who stops her husband from committing suicide and reminds him that it is better to be alive. The blue glow of the Earth engines appears in the distance, offering a glimmer of hope. Upon landing, the narrator learns that their father has died. They visit their father's space fleet base and receive a posthumously awarded medal. As Earth approaches the sun once more, there is no sign of spring. The impact dust blocks the sun's rays, leaving the surface cold and gray. The narrator and Kayoko place their son in a fostering center and return home to find their city in turmoil. The theory that the sun will not explode has spread like wildfire, and people are rebelling against the unity government. Kayoko joins the rebels, while the narrator remains loyal to the government and joins the army. The rebels quickly gain control of most of the Earth, and the unity government is forced to make a stand at the Earth Engine Control Center. The narrator is wounded in battle and ends up in a field hospital. A general rallies the remaining troops to seize control of the Earth Bridge and surrender it to the rebels. They encounter little resistance and soon find themselves on the bridge, surrounded by a massive hologram of the solar system. The Supreme Executive Officer announces the government's surrender, acknowledging that the people have endured too much hardship to remain reasonable. He asks that the people remember the 5,000 loyalists who stood firm in their convictions to the very end. The last of the Earth faction are sentenced to death and are executed by having the nuclear batteries removed from their thermal suits, leaving them to freeze to death on the surface of the frozen ocean. The narrator watches the execution with satisfaction, believing that these criminals deserve to die for their deception. However, as the sun explodes in a helium flash, the narrator realizes that the unity government was right all along. 50 years pass, and Earth has left the solar system behind. The narrator visits the surface with their son and daughter-in-law, who is heavily pregnant. The Earth engines are still firing, accelerating the planet toward Proxima Centauri. The atmosphere has frozen, forming strange crystals on the surface. The stars of the Milky Way shine brightly in the sky. The narrator reflects on the long journey ahead and the hope that their descendants will one day reach a new home. They imagine their great-grandchildren playing in green fields under a blue sky, and they see Kayoko, young and beautiful, running toward them. "O Earth, my wandering Earth." If you enjoyed this summary, please consider subscribing to the channel.